So currently in the story of Jujutsu Kaisen, Yuji has kind of played a sort of side character role for a while now, and a lot of people have noticed this. They've noticed that he hasn't really played the main character role, and essentially everybody else in the story has kind of been doing what he's supposed to be doing right now, fighting and going through the story and learning different things, and you know, that really does strike me as very weird. So I do feel like soon, or pretty soon enough, we are going to get a Yuji that does get powered up and does gain a lot of relevancy inside of the story. I do feel like there's a couple ways that Gege is going to kind of go about this and give Yuji the power up that he very much does deserve, but hasn't really had the chance to receive recently inside of the story. With this video though, I basically just want to go over some of the different possibilities that Yuji will have for a power increase going forward in the story of Jujutsu Kaisen, and I do feel like these are going to be coming very soon in the story, just in the fact that Sukuna may or may not be down up for the count. I don't think Sukuna is going to lose, but whether or not he's going to lose or not, the fight seemingly is going to end pretty soon, so this would be a good point for Yuji to finally get that power up that he does deserve. Before we hop right into the video though, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe if you enjoyed anything you see here today, as I make a lot of different videos very similar to this one. Thank you. So first and foremost, we do have to talk about the introduction of the blood abilities that Yuji may or may not inherit in the story, and I have actually made a video completely breaking down all of the different abilities that he's going to gain from the blood abilities, most likely if he does gain this, and I do have a video for that, so definitely look out for that right in the top right corner. Essentially though, he's going to gain these abilities from consuming the rest of the death paintings that are present in the story, as we do know they exist and they are present, and the reason why this actually works in the story is the fact that Yuji's body is very weird to the point where he's able to suppress cursed spirits and cursed spirits alike, and you know, take in cursed items and not really be able to get maybe swayed by them or have them kind of possessed him. He's able to do this, and the person that he was actually housing was Sukuna, one of the strongest people, someone who was very in tune with their soul, and even they weren't able to necessarily just take over Yuji's body whenever they wanted to. So obviously Yuji's going to be able to consume these death paintings and use their powers kind of however he wants to, and I don't think they would really have any repercussions, since right now Yuji does have that relationship with the blood curses. You know, he has that relationship with Choso, and I actually don't think that he would have any troubles using the powers of the rest of the death paintings. So we could actually see a Yuji that is able to have 6 different blood abilities housed inside of it and be able to use these kind of willingly whenever he wants to. I definitely do feel like if he was able to gain the abilities of the death paintings, all 6 of them, and be able to house them and use their abilities, it would definitely put him at a level where he's going to be maybe in the top realms of the series, since you have to realize that he's kind of having these on top of already his physical abilities, and Yuji's very strong. Like, he's been able to fight against special grade cursed spirits on his own, he's been able to fight against some of the strongest people in the series, and right now he still has not manifested a cursed ability, and he's even still getting stronger physically by the day. We saw that he did get stronger during his fight with Sukuna, and adding the death paintings would definitely put him at the upper echelons of power in the series. I wholeheartedly believe this is the case. The second possibility for Yuji gaining a power in the series would be that he does have an innate technique that he has had hidden, and he's going to manifest this later on in the story. This is one of the ones that a lot of people have not been able to kind of confirm in the series, just in the fact that Yuji has not shown to even have an inkling of a cursed technique of his own, and we haven't seen anything kind of mentioned in the series that would maybe pull credence to maybe him having one. So this right now is kind of up in the air, but I do feel like this could be a possibility, and Gege could actually show us something that maybe we missed, maybe build up on it more recently in the story or something along those lines, but this would be a possibility. I've seen some people say that maybe it's going to be something related to his mother's gravity ability, and he could incorporate this into his fighting style with hand-to-hand combat, and I've also seen some people try to say that maybe he just innately doesn't have a technique, but I feel like this isn't the case. Like, even somebody like Junpei, who really wasn't a curse user, like he has no kind of family ties to the cursed world of Jujutsu Kaisen, even he was able to manifest these sort of cursed techniques, so I feel like why wouldn't Yuji be able to? Me personally, I can't really think of what it could be other than maybe potentially, like a lot of people have been saying, you know, Yuji's mother's curse technique, or maybe some type of iteration of that. Maybe his dad had one that we didn't know about, and maybe it would be similar to that. We just aren't sure, but I do feel like this would be a big possibility going forward in the story, and it would make a lot of sense, you know, depending on how Gege kind of introduces the idea of him having a curse technique, and maybe it could even be something like Kenjaku, you know, gave him a curse technique or took the curse technique. Of course, leading more into that, it could also be the fact that maybe Kenjaku, messing around with Yuji's birth, we know that he did that. Maybe there was a sort of binding vow going on where he allowed Yuji to get a very stronger body in exchange for not having a cursed technique, and that would explain a lot. It would explain why he was kind of born without one, why he's able to use cursed energy but not have a cursed technique, and it would also explain why he's just so physically gifted compared to everybody else while only having cursed energy and not a innate technique. It really gets put into perspective more when you see him fighting with Maki, and Maki is somebody that literally has a binding vow, or she has a heavenly restriction giving her enhanced physical capabilities, and Yuji's able to keep up with her. And it's just weird, considering he's just a regular kind of person, or not regular, but he just has cursed energy and he's able to keep up with somebody that literally has a binding vow, getting rid of their cursed energy in exchange for that physical increase in power. Now, these last two theories as to what it could be are very interchangeable, or they're very similar, so I do feel like these are a possibility, and these are very interesting in the series since it kind of just pulls Yuji back to the basics. It says that he's going to double down and basically just use his hands for the rest of the series, and he's going to be very successful at that. Of course, that is why I have changed the music for this section of the video, and I feel like it is very fitting for what Yuji's abilities would be moving forward in the story. The first of these ideas is that Yuji will gain a domain expansion or some sort of simple domain, something that will cut him off from the rest of the world and allow him to fight in a one-on-one with his opponent. And inside of this domain, he's actually going to be able to negate any and all cursed energy and completely fight with hand-to-hand combat. And obviously you can see why this would be a very good thing for Yuji, since he is one of the main people that is good at hand-to-hand combat. He just has so much grit, he's able to keep going, he has like almost infinite stamina and endurance. So in a fight against somebody 1v1 with no cursed energy, I do feel like no matter how strong the opponent is, and no matter how skilled they are at physical combat or close quarters combat, Yuji would most likely come on top just in the fact that he's able to take such a beating and not feel pain. He's not able to go down, and if it's just a one-on-one, a fight, and you're kind of fighting to see who can outlast each other, I do feel like Yuji is definitely going to be able to defeat most of the people in the series, even high-level people without cursed energy. Even high-level opponents inside of the series, I do feel like Yuji would be able to best them just using his sheer grit and willpower and his ability to keep fighting and keep hitting and going for that goal, or whatever he needs to get done. It would definitely be very interesting if he did manifest some sort of domain ability like this, and it would be very, very fitting for him. And I do see people saying like, it would be kind of weird that he has a sort of domain or domain expansion or simple domain, and it just has that one ability to get rid of their cursed energy. But we do have to call back to the sumo user, and he was able to do literally the same thing. He kind of had a domain world where all you were able to do was do sumo, so I feel like why doesn't Yuji, or why wouldn't Yuji be able to do something very similar? And I do have a video about this either out or coming out where I kind of explain more of that sumo ability and how Yuji's domain could very much be just the sumo ability, or the idea of that sumo thing where he's able to kind of have a domain world where he sets the rules and you're kind of supposed to abide by it. Now, the last prediction for his abilities moving forward in the stories is very straightforward. It's just the fact that he's going to be able to keep fighting using his left, using his right, and defeating opponents in that way. This is obviously a route that I feel like a lot of people aren't really going to like. A lot of people want Yuji to do something else in the story other than beat down his opponents with his hands, and I do kind of appreciate the idea of this theory, since it would kind of make him a sort of very similar being to Maki, just in the fact that he does have cursed energy and he's able to kind of do similar things. I do kind of like this. I don't know how high up in the power system he would get with this, but I do feel like he would maybe be able to get to the point of special grade just through this alone, since he's been able to fight special grade cursed spirits on his own, with just his cursed energy and his fighting abilities. So I feel like what would really stop him from gaining more cursed energy, since we have to realize that he's only been in the Jujutsu world for like 6 months now, and we see how vastly different Gojo is from when he started doing Jujutsu to right now in the stories after he's had many fights, many revelations. So what's stopping Yuji from going through the same process, learning more about cursed energy, being able to use it more efficiently, being able to use it harder, faster, being able to swell up his cursed energy, different abilities just in the hand-to-hand combat aspect. So there really is nothing stopping Yuji from kind of getting stronger just through hand-to-hand combat itself, and I feel like he could go very far. If he's gotten this far in just 6 months, not even a whole year of learning Jujutsu, imagine how strong the dude is going to be if he was given years to train, years to literally just perfect the ability to punch and kick and fight in that way, while having his cursed energy get way larger and larger throughout the series. I feel like he would definitely become a menace, and I feel like people shouldn't sleep on the idea that Yuji would only be be able to use his kind of, hand-to-hand combat in fights, since he's already this strong with it. He's had barely any time to grow, and imagine just how strong he would be if he is going to grow. So I definitely do think that people shouldn't write out the idea that Yuji is just going to have hand-to-hand combat moving forward in the story, since he is going to become a monster. If this is the case, he's still going to become a very strong curse user. He's going to be very, very, very competitive with a lot of the higher level people in the series, and I do feel like this would kind of put him up there, just in that physical combat perspective. He would definitely be very strong compared to a lot of the heavy hitters in the story even. With that being said though, that was just my 2 cents of the different abilities or the different routes that Gege could kind of give Yuji in terms of a power up in these series, and I do feel like all 4 of these are very credible. All of these could be potentially what happens to Yuji by the end of the story, and I feel like they would all make a lot of sense. Me personally though, I do feel like the death painting aspect, or him gaining the powers of all of the death paintings, would make a lot of sense. It would make sense as, what Yuji stands for, his relationship with Choso and the other death paintings, and kind of how his body is. It would make sense that he's able to kind of house them and be able to use their power, kind of to his will, and this in general just makes a lot of sense. But I do also kind of like the idea of him just having straight hand-to-hand combat throughout the rest of the series and just kind of getting stronger at that. So I feel like both of these would make a lot of sense. I do prefer the death paintings aspect, but it really could be up in the air as to what happens. But either way, I'm going to be happy with whatever Gege does. Maybe even they'll do something that I haven't listed here. It is a possibility, so we just kind of have to wait and see exactly how Yuji's character progresses and finishes up by the end of the manga. But with that being said though, let me know if you guys agreed with anything you see here in this video, and let me know which one of the different things I came up with you kind of agree with more, kind of like more. I do like that death paintings one, so just let me know what you guys think in the comments. Also, like the video if you liked it and subscribe, as it really does help me out, and I really do appreciate each and every one of you guys for stopping by and watching this video. I can't thank you enough. With that being said though, I'm out. Peace.